Hello everyone, welcome to my channel and thank you for taking the time to watch this video. This is a brand new walkthrough series of videos that I'm going to be doing to show you the different kinds of decks that are available on the market. These are decks that I have purchased based on my requirements, but there's such a large variety of decks, and I know when I was buying them it was very difficult to actually make a decision on which kind of deck that I wanted. So I'm going to just share some of the decks that I bought. I'll just do a walkthrough of the deck, show you the packaging it comes in, the little white book or literature that comes with the deck, and you can get to see what different cards there are within the deck, because each deck has different pictures and different meanings. And you know, if you are brand new to the tarot, it gives you an idea about what's going on within a tarot deck. And if you're a seasoned reader, then you get to see different decks and make a decision on what kind of deck you want to buy or what kind of deck you want to purchase. And there's such a variety, it can be quite overwhelming to pick out decks on the market. I know I had a lot of problems, trying to choose which kind of deck there is available. And it's good to actually see the deck first before you buy it, because sometimes you end up buying decks and then you find out you just don't understand the deck, or you can't click with the deck, and you feel like you've wasted your money buying these decks because you can't use them because you don't know how to read them. It's not that it's not that you don't know how to read them. Some people, well, I find that if I don't connect with the deck, I really have a difficult problem reading with it. And sometimes maybe the deck is some decks are maybe too violent, some decks are maybe too sexual. It depends on what your personality is and what you really want from a tarot reading. So I'm going to start with a good old solid foundation tarot deck, which is the Waite tarot deck. And I feel that I'm going to start with this deck because this is the gold standard of all tarot reading. So if you want to learn how to read the tarot deck, this is the best deck, in my opinion, to start off with. It gives you a lot of symbolism, and there's a lot of meaning in each of the cards. And you can always take whatever you learn. It's a really good learning experience, and you can take this, what you start off on a good basic foundation, and apply it to the rest of the tarot decks. So once you start off with the Waite deck, you can open the doors to using other decks as well. And it's also a good spiritual learning experience, because as you go through each card and go through the meanings of the cards and apply it to your life, it gives you a lot of spiritual insights that can help you grow. And a lot of people take individual cards and they meditate on the cards, and especially when they draw a card for the day, meditate on it and see how it applies to their life. And I found that that does help. Usually, if I pick a card and I'm going through a really hard time in my life, I find that the insights that come with that single card is quite phenomenal. I will think about it basically the whole day and see how it applies, and there's a lot of aha moments that come from picking a single card. So I do recommend you do that. That is a really good way to open up the channels of your spirituality and access that inner side of you. So enough about all the heavy stuff. This deck, this is the Giant Waite, and I think it's a really brilliant deck to get as a brand new tarot reader. Like I said, if you just want to pick one card for the day and concentrate on it, that's a really good way to start. And if you're a seasoned reader, you get to see all the new symbolism within the card, because it's a large deck and you get to see all the little bitty details. It's a deck that has been illustrated by Pamela Coleman Smith, and it was under the direction of Arthur Edward Waite. And it was done in 1909, so a pretty old deck. But it is amazing how the messages from over 100 years ago are still so pertinent to today's living. And it addresses so many aspects of our lives. I think that that is quite a phenomenal thing. There's this story that this deck has been, you know, it's really a divinely inspired deck. It was the first gift, if you like, from God to man, a way in which we can communicate with the spiritual realm, you know, without actually communicating with words, but with images, with pictures, with visions. So the deck comes in a nice box. It's fraying a little bit at the edges over here, you can see. So, you know, I have used this deck, not too much, but it is not holding up too well. It's a US Games card deck, and it's got a nice little story at the back over here about what the tarot looks like. And it is a 78 card deck, if you can see that. And okay, so the box is quite sturdy. I think it's quite sturdy. It will keep the cards pretty well. You know, generally for tarot cards, you know, you treat them with respect, and they will treat you with respect. So, you know, after you've used them, take them and put them away carefully. And also, like when you're doing tarot readings or working with the cards, it's really good to have a mat or some sort of cloth that you can use to keep the deck read on the deck on, because you know, you get the dirt. The dirt gets off the card, gets on the cards if you just read them on a any kind of surface, and you know, it's just showing a bit of respect to the cards, and you just keep them nice and clean. And you know, some people don't keep the decks within the boxes. They take the decks and they put it into silk bags, something to protect the cards. They might store the cards with stones, gemstones. It all depends on you and how you want to treat your cards. I personally don't do that. I try to leave them in the boxes because I really do like the box to be with the cards. I found in the past when I separated cards from boxes, you know, you lose something with the box. I feel that the whole card, the box, and everything is a complete unit and should be kept as one, because, you know, the box is designed for the cards, and I feel like there's some energy also contained within the box itself. I know people throw the boxes away, they throw the little white books away, but I'm not a believer in that. I don't believe in okay, I don't even believe in cutting decks. I don't believe in making decks borderless. I don't believe in interfering at all with the energy of the cards. So I'm a person that believes in, you know, you keep the box, even if the box goes to tatters. And you will see in some of my decks further down the line, their boxes are in complete tatters, but I have taken sort of tape and just taped it up and just kept it, because I feel that everything, the box, the deck, the little white book, all contains energies of the cards, and you shouldn't separate them. You are taking something away from it. That's just my feeling about the whole thing. And people may not agree with it. I'm sure they won't. So this deck comes with a nice little book. Well, not little, I would think. From some of the little white books, they're really little. So this is quite a good sized little white book, and it's you know, it's flimsy. It's just there to help you read the cards, and it's got a nice little introduction in it that gives you the history of the cards, which is very important. I think all these little white books, if nothing else, you should read what the card is about, why the person designed the card, what was behind them, because these people who design these cards are actually channeling. So information comes from even reading their little white book to tell you how they channeled, and that in itself you apply to the cards when you're reading the cards. So it's very important to read the information about the cards, and this tells you, like, gives you a nice history about how tarot emerged and what it is about. You know, it takes all the myths that are associated with tarot, all the fear that is associated with tarot, and it actually shows you that it is a good communication tool that we can use to access our higher selves, access the spiritual world, and that is important. So even you know, I myself had some myths that I had in my mind about tarot, and reading these little white books just takes away all those ridiculous ideas that we might be having. So you get to see the cards for what they are and understand what they are by reading these little introductions and knowing what's going on, or how the person came up and what happened. And of course, going on the internet and doing some research on a deck of cards is also very, very important, and it's very, very informative, so that you understand. You need to understand your deck in order to connect with it. So this one does the nice little history of the deck. And it also shows you, divides the cards into the major arcana, which are the big meanings, the big life meanings. And then we've got the lesser arcana, which are the little life lessons, the daily lessons that we have to go through. And we've got the swords, the wands, the cups, suits, and we've got the pentacles, suits at the ends. And what's nice about it is it gives you the cards, and it tells you exactly what to look for within the card itself, what the picture it means. It also gives you the meanings of the cards in the upright position as well as in the reversed position. So that's pretty good. It's pretty interesting. And at the end of the book, you've got the Celtic cross spread, which tells you how to lay the cards out for the 10. It's a 10 card, while these people use 11 because they use a significator card at the bottom. And that's very good if you're reading individual readings. And then you've got, it tells you how to actually go about doing the Celtic cross spread. So pretty much, if you get the deck, it's a get up and go deck. So you can take it and use it immediately because it's told you quite a bit. So even if you have never used the tarot before and you get the deck and you shuffle the deck and you draw some cards and you lay it out, you just take the little white book, look through the meanings of the cards, and you can actually see what you're actually getting. What you can probably do a reading for yourself. So personally, self readings, they never work for me. So I prefer to read for other people. But this is a good place to start, and it's a good place to start on yourself. And if you're picking a card a day, it's a good place to take the card, look at what the actual images are and what they mean, and see how it's affecting your life and what it means in your life. So pretty good basic start to the deck. A good place to start learning about the tarot and connecting with your spirituality. So when you start off, the deck itself it's got a pretty good card stock itself. I've been using the deck quite a bit. I bought the deck for learning purposes, not for actually doing readings with it, because it is a bit bulky. Shuffling it is going to be quite difficult to do, I would think. I suppose it can be done if you've got really big hands. It's a good deck for demonstration purposes also. And if you're a person who has a seasoned tarot reader, what's really brilliant about the Giant Rider Waite is that the images are so big that you can actually start seeing the little intentions behind. You can see the little images within the card. It makes it all very, very clear, and you can see a lot of details, and each detail has got symbolism, because every time this Pamela Coleman Smith put the paintbrush to the canvas, she was channeling, and each stroke in her paintings is a channeling, a message coming through. So that's why it's important that nothing that is on a card is there by accident. And that is something that I had to learn, that every single brush stroke on a canvas for these tarot paintings, and these cards are really paintings. You're working with a collection of paintings. That's how you should be looking at the tarot. All these things mean something. So the deck comes up with this nice little card that comes with it, and it just tells you what the card is about, and that it's the US game system. It's got a nice little backing. It's got a tartan kind of blue and black and grey tartan backing. And it comes with a little card about Pamela Coleman Smith. She's brilliant because she painted all the 78 cards within 6 months, and brilliantly done, I would think. And she's like one of the first tarot painters, because each and every card in the major and the minor arcana have got pictures in it. So it's a very user-friendly deck that was painted, so that we can all see the images and understand it. It's not got any I don't like cards that have no images on it. I can't connect to them. I don't feel I can. And she's got a little poem that was written by her, very sort of saddish poem called Alone. But this was her greatest gift to the world, and this is what she's always going to be known for. And I think this was her life purpose, to come in here and give us something. She never really benefited from these cards, which is very sad. So read up about her history. It's quite a sad history, I think. But she gave us such a great gift, and I think we're forever grateful to her for having painted these pictures. And it's been done under the supervision of A.E. Waite, and brilliantly done as well. So I'm going to just walk you through the cards itself. I'll go through the major cards, minor cards, and show you what is available on the deck itself if you've never seen the Rider-Waite. So this is the Fool card, and you can see the beautiful, the colors coming through very, very nicely. So that's the Fool, the Magician, yeah. You've got the High Priestess, which gives you a nice picture. You can see the Torah card over there and the little moon that's under her feet. So everything in this deck has got meaning in it. This is the Empress card. You can see her sitting there very beautifully with her Venus sign over here, and showing you her abundance. And the Emperor card. You can see his ram's heads there. Yeah. And you've got the Hierophant card over here, and the Lovers, and you can see this nice snake and the angel, and the Chariot. You can see this person really sitting, an Egyptian sphinxes there. You've got the Strength card, and you can see all of them have been has got her signature. This is the Pamela Coleman Smith signature on the deck itself. This is the Hierophant. Oops. So the Wheel of Fortune, the Justice card. I always thought this was a woman, but apparently it's a man. So that's what I saw getting the big deck. You can see the man in it. This is the Hanged Man. There's Death. And it's got some really beautiful imagery in the background. So what's nice about the bigger cards, you can actually see the boat going over this the river, and you know, the sun in the background coming up over there. You can see these crowns over here in the Temperance card. So very, you know, very, very important for you to be able to see all the little details that are available. That's why I like this deck. And I used it, and you know, I was quite impressed, because it added such a good dimension to my readings. This is the Star, the Moon, the Sun, the World, yeah. Judgment. So that was a bit reversed there. Okay, so let's go through the minor arcana cards. And you can see the Ace of Pentacles with the Hand of God, the Two of Pentacles. So you can see these nicely. This is the Three of Pentacles, the Four of Pentacles, the Five of Pentacles, miserable card, the Six of Pentacles, the Seven of Pentacles, 8, 9, and the 10. Now all of them are labeled with the Roman numerals, so it doesn't say the. So this is the Page, and it hasn't got a really big border, so it really, you get to see a lot of that painting that, you know, that she made. You know, the deck, the border doesn't overwhelm the actual picture. This is the Queen, the King, and what's beautiful about it is the expressions of the faces are there. So you've got the Ace of Pentacles. You know, you can actually see the facial expressions that are on the card, and you can see all the little details. So you can see what, you know, as much as the person is very important within a deck. This is the Three of Cups. The background is also very important when you're doing card readings. This is the Four of Cups, the 5, the 6, the 7, yeah, the 8, 9, and the 10. And what's really nice, the page, the knight, the queen, and the king. It's a lovely airy kind of deck. I mean, it's not a dark deck, and you know, it gives you a really, you can feel that flow of easy energy coming off it. Ace, 2, 3. Sometimes decks are really dark and you can't really, it feels the energy is very heavy, but this is a very nice light deck. The 4 of Wands, the 5 of Wands, the 6 of Wands, 7 of Wands, the 8 of Wands, the 9 of Wands, the 10 of Wands, the Page of Wands, the Knight of Wands, Queen of Wands, King of Wands. Facial expressions are pretty good in this deck, I have to admit. So this is the Ace of Swords, Hand of God coming out with the truth. The 2 of Swords, the 3 of Swords, the 4 of Swords, 5 of Swords, 6 of Swords, 7 of Swords, 8 of Swords, the 9 of Swords, 10 of Swords, Page, Knight, Queen, and the King. So that's the whole deck, and really I think it's a really brilliant deck to learn out from. I don't know about shuffling. I mean, I suppose it is possible to shuffle it. I personally will always keep this as a learning deck as opposed to being a reading deck, because it is a bit big, but it is a really good deck in which you start off with and you get to see everything. And I think for me now, I believe that it is a must in every tarot reader's, you know, they should have this deck with them to start off with, because it is so nice and informative just looking at a single card. So even if you just pick up the Lover's card, you know, you've got so much of information that you can see on this particular picture, and you appreciate it for the picture of it, and you appreciate it for the artwork when you have this size of deck. Now I have got the smaller Rider-Waite and the Radiant Rider-Waite, and I will show you that in the next couple of videos that I do. But I thought that this is the first deck that I would recommend you start, you buy. It is available. I'm going to put the links now in the description box to eBay and to Amazon. I've put links to Amazon UK as well as Amazon the US, Amazon.com. So it's a really good deck to invest in. I think it's a really good investment to make. And even if you're never going to be a tarot reader, you know, sometimes when you're going through problems in life, it's good to have something that you can just draw a card from and have some sort of spiritual advice coming in. And I think if you had to choose any deck to start off with or to have, this is the deck to buy. It's extremely it's an extremely good deck, and I think, you know, you will make a good investment if you get this particular deck. It definitely will open a lot of doors, and it'll also make the learning experience of tarot so much more fun. When you're working with really small decks and trying to learn off really small decks, it's not very clear, and it's not, you tend to lose interest, and you don't pick up the little facts and the little innuendos. So getting this deck is something that I would highly recommend. It certainly has changed the way I read the tarot, and it's brought a lot of things to light. So I hope that you've enjoyed this walkthrough, and I shall be doing in the next couple of videos the Radiant Rider-Waite, show you another learning deck, and also a normal size Rider-Waite deck in the same coloring in it, because you know Rider-Waite has been they've taken the Rider-Waite deck and they've recolored it and repackaged it. They've done everything it can possibly do with the deck because it is such a brilliant deck. Like I said, it's the gold standard. So if you're starting with the tarot, or if you want to learn the tarot, that is where you should start. And this, I think, is the deck you should buy as your first deck to begin any kind of tarot studies that you want to undertake. And and that's where this is the deck that will open the doors to learning the tarot and open the doors to your spiritual learning, because the tarot is a journey through your spirituality, rather than just telling you what you're going to eat for dinner tomorrow, or what dress you're going to wear to a party the next day, that kind of thing. So this is a good beginning, and I think that this deck is something that you should really think about investing in. You won't go wrong investing in this deck, and I highly recommend it. So I hope that that was very informative for you, and I hope that you've enjoyed that. And thank you so much for watching. Take care now. Goodbye.